Hey, Mike.
Hey, Matt, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing all right. How's everything going with you?
Good, good.
Good,
I
good.
just my dog's in the window chasing a bee that's inside.
Oh, all right. All right. Thanks for taking a couple of moments to talk with me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
All right. So,
Absolutely.
so how you been holding up during all this?
Well, just like many others, struggling. This is the best part of my year is softball season and getting out and being with the team and the coaching staff and uh, you know, still with them.
Yeah.
We're still meeting and talking every week and. But it's just a little different, not having, being outside and having those 2.5 hours of, pure enjoyment. I like to say those are 2.5 hours of my life that I really enjoy.
No, absolutely. I mean, I can see, having watched you and the team over the past couple of years, how much that you care about it and how much you get into it. I'm sure that this has really been difficult for you not to have that type of a release.
Yeah, it is. It's especially April, which we had so many rain days, can be demoralizing for not only coaching staff but our kids, and we noticed that, and that's why we found it very valuable to use the Zoom meetings and just overall talking to the girls, texting the girls, the players. Uh, Really helped not only them, but it also helped us as well.
Yeah. Now I'm sure you've been using the that video conferencing software Zoom for teaching and doing different stuff like that. How has that been for you to try to adjust for working in the school to now being at home and having to do all this from there?
Yeah, so we've all, Assabet, like many other schools, we've went to, many blending learning styles. Zoom is one of them that we use frequently to also, contact our kids, our students. It's a great feature to have. You get to have that face to face with the students, and it just for people like myself that have been at home and social distancing and being safe and wearing masks and not getting to see the students, it's really put a dent into your overall self being.
Right.
And being in a classroom, being at school, you don't realize how much you enjoy it until it's gone. I mean, it's a cliche, but it's so true. I just miss going to school, but I'm thankful that the school provided us with Zoom and allows us to speak to our kids, especially kids that are really struggling, students that are really struggling to adapt. Kids that may have some hyperactivity. They don't have that typical schedule that they would follow that keeps that anxiety at a low level. And now you take that out, and it causes you hear about parents' frustration through Facebook and everything like that. And I could only imagine having 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever amount of kids, and you take the whole schedule out, and I can't even imagine being a parent at home without a schedule, without going to school, So Zoom has been a huge factor for us, to be able to use that.
Now, how about you? You were saying how it can affect the kid to not have, or the student to not have that structure throughout the course of the day. Now, what about the actual process of teaching and trying to educate the kids through this platform? Is it difficult to try to do that because different students learn in different ways, but now they're kind of being forced to learn in this one very kind of small way? I mean, has it been difficult for kids, or through what you're seeing, to comprehend different lessons and being able to get extra help that they may need?
So at first, like anything that's new, um, it was, you had that learning curve, not only for the students, but you also had it for the teachers. We had to learn very quickly. We had to adapt, not only with Zoom, but how to get these lesson plans and these, objectives and standards to the students. But like you say, you have all different level of students at Assabet. So we've had to work through our academic director, our principal, who've been really great at just keeping their, minds to listen to questions and listen to teachers bringing, and then looking at other materials that have worked for other districts, and also what we've done as, I teach special ed at Assabet, and trying to do different ways. They shut down the school, so you think about that. Some people don't have internet, some people don't have availability because there might be multiple students at home trying to do work, and internet can go out. Some may have a good computer, some don't. I know Mr. Hollick at Assabet has, and our computer specialists, they've handed out, I think, over 120 Chromebooks or other items during this pandemic. So that's from parents coming to the school. They have to, interact, get it to them. And then to get these lesson plans into the students, into their, classroom. We use a number of my classes use something called Google Classroom, and it's a way for them to do their work and then upload their work, and we'll have that, our grading system for term 3. So yes, it's been tough, but I think right now our school engagement is something like 93 to 94%, which is really remarkable.
It's incredible.
For what, not only the teachers, the administrators, but the parents, the students have to, accommodate and modify, and but the engagement, the kids are there, they're working. They've, they've done a tremendous job just to get back into the schedule, back into the school, understanding that there's, roughly a month and 2 weeks, 6 weeks left of school, so they see the finish line. So has it been easy? No, but I think with all of us working together, it's come full circle, and I think we're doing a pretty good job.
Yeah. How difficult of a position do you think that, or do you anticipate being in the beginning of the next season or next school year? Granted that that starts on time. Do you think that everyone's going to be behind the 8 ball considerably, or do you think that everything that's going on right now, as far as the Zoom classes, will get everybody up to speed and everyone will be on track for where they would typically be to start the next year?
So, obviously, I don't know the future. I'm relying on the specialists, from the CDC. And they're going down to the, Massachusetts, from the governor down. So it's tough to really speculate on, is school going to start? I know our school and our principal and our administration is preparing to, I believe, start on time. We haven't got that far ahead. But I know, right now, our focus is, getting term 3 seniors not only to graduate, but to figure out, what can we do for these kids that have lost so much.
Right.
Their springs, sports seasons, their formals, their proms, their drama club presentations. I mean, there's so much that they've lost. I think our focus has been on that. It's like, you can never replace it, but how can we as teachers, how can we be as administration, how can we be as faculty to, do as much as we can for these students that did lose so much, and that's kind of been our focus point. And as me, personally, that's what I'm trying to do, especially with the kids that are struggling or may need some extra assistance. We're willing, not just me, but the teachers seem to be willing to work, whatever it takes to get it done. We have a motto at school is do more, and that's actually what we're doing right now. What else can we do? How do we do more for these kids to battle through nothing that the United States has ever been through, and have it special for these seniors and other kids, not just seniors, but, underclassmen as well. So when it comes to like next year, I think, that's going to be, once we hear from the administration, I don't have anything on that to comment on that.
No, that's understandable. That's understandable. Thank you for giving me your perspective on, from an educator's perspective, I should say. We're going to switch it up and start talking a little bit about, the season that was unfortunately lost. After waiting a few weeks, hoping that there was going to be a season, the MIA concluded that the spring season was going to be canceled. So, what was that moment like, finally finding out the realization that there would be no season, and how difficult was it to communicate that with the players, and what were their emotions like in that moment?
So once the official word, because you had Governor Baker come out and state what he said. So then the MIA voted, I think it was 2 or 3 days later, and I think it was 16-0 to cancel the season, which kind of, we all understood it was kind of coming. But to get the direct news, we had a Zoom meeting with the whole program, and there was, tears. It was emotional not only for the players, but it was emotional for the coaches. We had 5 seniors on the team this year, and one of the bigger moments in the year, wins or losses, aside, is walking parents or guardians to the mound on senior day, because it kind of recognizes all those accomplishments that the students and the players and the families and the coaches have gone through. And at that moment, once the season, the MIA had, was forced to cancel, it took a lot of emotion. It was, heartbreaking. And to this, right now, it's still frustrating because you just want to, like we've had a couple nice days of weather, and you just want to go out there. And I know our students have thrown a ball around with their family members. I'm out there with my dog just trying to, hit the ball. I mean, just anything. So it was crushing when it was, finally, determined that the season, from a games point of view, that there wouldn't be any competition. It was really disheartening, but understandable from the MIA perspective.
Yeah, at this point, there was no way that you could compromise or take a chance and compromise anybody's health or safety at this point. That wouldn't have been responsible for sure.
No way.
But as you had said before, when you were talking about as an educator doing more for the students, especially in their senior year, to help kind of replace some of these things, is there anything planned specifically by the coach from the coaching staff, maybe for those 5 seniors, to kind of help do anything for them to kind of raise their spirits?
So I know as a coaching staff, my assistant coach, is my father, who's been with me for 6 years, known as Pops, and Coach Long, who's my assistant coach. He helps out all levels with varsity and JV coaches, Coach Mano, and then Coach Baker, who's actually the 5th year. She was scheduled to play. She went from Mass College of Liberal Arts to Fitchburg State, and so her season got canceled as well. So, we plan on meeting with our seniors, social distance wise, giving them what we've got for senior gifts. We haven't presented that yet. We're looking for a day that we all could do it. Our athletic director, who just came back on Monday from maternity leave, so I had thrown a number of things out to him, and I know he has a full plate going right now. So I was kind of waiting for the athletic director, which I'm sure Josh McCreary has a number of ideas for our senior athletes that could be put in play. Nothing's going to make up for their senior year loss, but I know as a coaching staff we're going to, not surprised because they kind of know we're going to be there sometime, but we just haven't set a date to come up and meet, drop something off or, that type of items.
Well, that's wonderful. It's really nice to hear that you guys are going to go out of your way to make sure that they at least get something, because I'm sure, like you said, it doesn't come close to replacing the actual event, but at least they're seeing that the adults around them are going the extra mile to make sure that they're taken care of.
Yeah, and we've had specific little, they're not little, but Nicole Petroni and Bella Lagatola, they were seniors that we've worked with that have been in the program for 4 years, including this year, and they did all the preseason work that goes into coaching any type of season. Then you have like a captain's practice, but at that point in time, there was no we hadn't named captains, but they had put together strength and conditioning in the weight room. They had worked on finding facilities in Worcester as well as in Hudson that the kids were working out prior to the season. So during the season, which was a special thing, which I haven't done in 9 years, 8 years, we named 2 captains, and it was Nicole Petroni. She's from Leicester. She travels, Leicester's not a short distance to Assabet, but she's worked very hard to become a captain and well-deserved, as well as Bella Lagatola, who's also worked extremely hard, played during the summer, and she'll be going down to the University of New Haven, which is my alma mater.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say that's your place. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so we've had some great talks, and they were, the coaching staff all agreed, and we named them captains. I forget the specific date, but it was, about a week into the season. So, it's not a little thing because they're so well deserving, and it's just sad they couldn't perform the other duties of what captains do, on the field as well. And they continue to be captains through this right now. I mean, we're still working on videos that they can help out the underclassmen from next year. That's on our Google Classroom for softball. So they're continuing to do these things. And I know Nicole, she had a birthday, so we sent her nice toilet paper and flowers, because at the time everyone didn't have any toilet paper. So we made something up, and I couldn't get out there, but my mother drove by the house, because that's, with the social distancing, you can't have parties. So they did my mother drove by, and I, made a nice phone call to Nicole, and, it got a little emotional. I get emotional too, and so these are the kind of the things that we try and provide, and that's going to continue. That's going to continue till the end of this year and on.
Yeah. Now I know you spoke a little bit about Nicole and about Bella. Could you just go through the 5 seniors and just tell me something quick about them, a little anecdotal story, or just something about their character that you really appreciate or what you'll miss about them?
Yeah, so I've already told you about Bella and Nicole. They're captains, and and I'll name the other 3 seniors was Addie Tardif. She'll be going to Fitchburg State next year. She's rooming with another, Assabet nursing, one of her friends. So she's really looking forward to that. One of the quick stories, she came, transferred from Hudson, and right away she made an impact. But her mother had she had a medical emergency, and Addie the next day showed up at a game against Tantascwa, and we were very surprised by that because we thought she would want to be home with her mom, who's fine. Let me just tell you, she's fine now. Mm-hmm. But she came in, she made game's close. Tantascwa had walked off at their place last year. She made a nice play to end the game with runners in scoring position, second and third with 2 outs, and she made a great play at third base throughout the girl at first, and that kind of summed up kind of who she is. Tough girl, and wonderful to play with. Next girl is Callie Ryan, and it's spelled Kaylee, K-I-I-L, and I'll send you an email with all the spelling and everything, stuff like that. This was kind of her big year for us because last year she filled in. She had a nice swing, and she had really worked on her swing. She had a big hit last year at Northbridge. It was a close game, 2-1, and we were playing at Northbridge, coming off. They were a district team at a higher level. Game was 2-1, 2 outs, second and third, and she ripped one up the middle for a 2 RBI to kind of put the game not out of hand, but to make it 4-1. Mm-hmm. And I was looking forward to that this year, having that bat in the lineup to really help us. And then our last senior, we have 5 seniors, is Sage Hollenkamp, and Sage she's a lefty. She's come up with big swings. Plays tremendous defense at first base, but she's also kind of lightens up the team. When I'm going a little, over the top, she'll say something like, "Coach, we got it." You know what I mean? So she's that calming effect around the teammates. She was great at first base. She, picked the ball. She, especially with some of our throws, we needed her to pick the ball a lot. So she did a tremendous job on that. So those are our fine, 5 seniors. Bella and Nicole, probably our 2 best hitters on the team, and both had speed. Both could run the bases very well. Petroni, she had strep throat through the playoffs, the districts last year, so she couldn't play, which really hurt us. But Ashley Lacani, who plays for Worcester State now, filled in great. However, I know Petroni could have stayed at home with a fever and a temperature, but she was at every practice. She was on the bench, and that just showed her character. You know what I mean? Some people would say, "Coach, I'm sick with strep throat," which I would be. I'm worried. Like, hey, don't drink out of the same water bottles. Yeah. And she's like, "Coach, I'm not going to do that." And the parents are great. Both parents. I mean, I really like. It's fun. That's what I was looking forward to this year. It's just having those parents that are supported the program, that wanted to see their kids play, and I'm going to really miss that. I mean, it's killing me.
Yeah. So, this season, unfortunately, is lost, but hope springs eternal, and there'll be a next year. What do you anticipate the future of the program being? Do you anticipate there be the same type of interest in the programs, having there been like a lapse in years? Do you see the involvement being the same next year?
So we're continuing to grow. I mean, this is, so other teams may have shut it down. We're going to June with our program, and kind of our seniors and underclassmen, we're putting together all these videos that will help us next season, specifically when we have rain days or we're doing evaluation of our own practices. We use Hulu. So, it's giving us a leg up that we've never really been able to do because we never had this much time. Obviously, you'd be out in the field, you're going to practice and everything like that. So now we're getting to look at our program from inside out and say, okay, what can we do when we have down days or snow days or 4 days in between games? Maybe we want to do a preparation day or videos in our Google Classroom that specifically work with our hitters, fielding, pitching. So I think our engagement will be there because the kids are actually getting to see a little more of the coaching staff when we're doing these Zoom meetings, when they're sending emails. They're getting to know us, more in depth than they would if they were just playing JV and varsity, because now we have our whole program all together in these meetings, and they're seeing us, they're hearing us, they're hearing stories. I think it's going to strengthen us for years to come. And the best recruitment, when I say this, is our players. If I have a freshman this year that played a summer ball, and she knows 6 to 8 girls from Marlboro and Hudson that she played with, and she says, well, Coach O'Brien and Coach Long and Coach Bano, they do a great job, and they love the program, and they put a lot of effort in. They're gonna push, for what they believe in it too. So I think we'll be okay next year. We're all scared of the pandemic, and rightfully so. It's hurt our elders. It's hurt everyone, especially people with weakened immune systems. I'm hoping they come up with a cure or some type of vaccine quicker than expected. So I'm looking forward to next year. It's hopefully will be taken care of by then, and I think we'll be just as strong as ever.
That's great, Mike. Thank you so much for all the time. You've given me a ton to work with here. I'm gonna cut this interview down until about like a 3-minute version that will air on the news, and then I'll be releasing the full version of it in the days after that. So I'll send you links to both of them when those are all set.
Yeah, and the last thing, I know it's hard right now because, Matt, we got other in districts, out of districts. The season was cut short, but our administration is really stuck with the coaching staff, and what I mean by that is still working with us with the spring sports season, and I don't hear many other districts standing by their coaches. So it's really, they should be, they should be given a lot of credit because, I know the spring coaches. I think all of us teach there, at least the head coaches. Mm-hmm. So, it's such an unfortunate situation with COVID, but with the administration and Mr. Hool and Mr. Luoto and Mr. Hollick and Josh working with us, all coaches, to help us and us to give back. It at least brightens. It gives the kids something to look forward to each week. So I think they should get a lot of credit too.
Oh, that's great. It's nice that you've recognized them too.
Yeah, I mean, you got to recognize, the people that are steering the ship. Mm-hmm. We may be doing all the, some of the grunt work and stuff like that, but they're giving the direction, and they could have cut us off, and they've done a great job allowing us to keep, doing what we love, and I'm very thankful for them.
And I'm sure that the students and the student athletes in particular are so appreciative of everything that you and your coaching staff have been able to do to help give them something, because it's so tough right now. Even for some of us adults that have the ability to say, go work a part-time job in the meantime, or at least take a drive somewhere, But some of these high school students, I mean, they don't have the means to just to go for a drive or just go take their mind off. They're just kind of stuck in the house for the most part. So it's nice that you guys
Yeah.
have reached out and have given them this.
Yeah, and that's a huge thing. They can always pick up the phone. They can always pick up the computer, and they got 5 coaches, I think, that really care about them and will help them at any point. And that's nice to have as a player, but as a person to be able to have that. I'm proud of that. That's what I'm really proud of.
That's great. Well, I certainly can't wait until everything gets back to normal so I can start covering and cutting highlights and getting back to doing the things that I love to do.
You must be going out of your mind too.
I am. And when you were talking about the feeling good about yourself and the self-worth in the beginning of the interview, like I know what you mean, because granted I have a part-time job that I can go work, and I've picked up some extra hours going to do that, but I mean, what I love to do is I love covering and cutting sports and putting my show together and doing different interviews with guys in person. So like to have to kind of readjust and refigure things out and figure that this is my opportunity to at least get on the phone with people and talk to them about their experiences and help kind of share their stories through all this. This is, it's what I've had to try to do to rework it and figure everything out. So what's going on right now?
It is a challenge, and Matt, you do a great job at it, and you have that ability to keep the conversation. I know I talk sometimes long-winded, but you know what I mean. I understand that too as well. But I still remember the first interview. I think I think it was the first interview. You came in.
The one in the dugout, right?
Yeah. So it was good, and I remember saying, I hope this guy stays there for a while, because a lot of times, you do a good job and then you move to, bigger and better things. And so I'm glad you're still there. You know what I mean? I wish I could have had more conversations with you this year, but, maybe next year. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I'm sure we'll figure something out sometime soon. The next thing that I would definitely like to be able to do, though, is at least speak to the 2 captains, Nicole and Bella, if that's okay. I got a few of the phone numbers from John,
Yep.
Tyler and all them. So I'm going to be talking to Tyler on Thursday at 3:30.
Okay.
He's going to be the first player that I'm going to interview in the wake of all this. So I'd love to be able to do that with a couple of your players as well.
Yeah. Nicole and Bella, I'll send them a text right after I hang up with you, and shoot me an email when you want to talk to them. I'll get them on the phone, and that'll also help, just from a player's perspective.
Even if it's just something even if it's something that's kind of like cathartic for them, if they can just kind of open up and maybe get something off their chest that they've kind of wanted to talk about as far as like their experience and everything that they're going through and the things that they're missing out on. Because I know that I'm not the only person that has curiosity about those kind of things. I'm sure tons of people in the community would love to hear about these kids and the things that they're going through right now.
Yeah, and those are two girls that will will share what they've gone through, and ask away.
All right, great.
So let me know when it's good for you, and I'll give them kind of a heads up of when. I don't know if it'd be this week or next week, but you'd let me know.
Right. It would probably be something about like next week, towards the end of next week. And what I can do also is I can send you some of like the questions that I would ask them, just so they kind of have an idea of the things that I'll be talking about.
Yeah, that'll make them feel a little more comfortable. And
all right, great.
A lot of times kids can speak, and they're great once you build them up and talk to them and build that confidence.
Yeah.
But if you don't give them any questions, they'll be like, yes, no, yes.
Right, exactly. That's it.
So
That's it.
I'll let them know sometime next week that you'll get back to me, and we'll set some times up.
All right, great, Mike. Thanks so much. I really appreciate it. You take care, okay?
You too. Stay safe, brother.
All right, you too. Take care. Be good.
All right, bye.